It's funny how you never stop and think about the things you've never questioned, until of course the day you finally do question them. One question that has been nagging me lately is this: have I ever really seen actual footage of outer space? Have you? I know we all think we have. We're sure we have. Countless times, right? But the more I've really started digging into this, started going back through all my previous assumptions, and examining the evidence with a more critical mind, it's now very hard for me to conclude that I've ever seen anything that is unmistakably, undeniably, pictures or video of true outer space. What we do have is lots of shots that look something like this. Footage from balloons, rockets, and craft that we are told are in orbit around the globe Earth. The world is big and blue and bright, relatively close up, with a massive, starless black expanse over it. This is footage that is taken from a balloon, and of course the curve is not from the Earth itself, but from the fisheye lens of a GoPro camera. And I don't mind using such footage and questioning a spherical Earth, because in it you can plainly see how the image is radically distorted, and the curve warps back and forth, making the Earth go from appearing convex to concave and back again. I believe it goes to show just how easily one can distort an image in order to make it appear as if we are looking at a ball. When we look at footage like this, or from any other Earth orbit footage such as the Gemini missions, we can clearly determine that despite whatever curve distortions there might be added to the Earth itself, the footage is still very much genuine. The atmosphere is full of clouds most of the time, the lighting has lots of realistic glare, and looks almost washed out much of the time. Contrast this to the crystal clear, eye-popping CGI imagery we are given nowadays from the International Space Station, with over-saturated colors and artificial atmospheric haze. I mean, can you see the obvious differences? Probably the most glaring of all details that has come to my attention from looking at all this so-called space footage is that nowhere do we ever see undeniable footage from any spacecraft, probe, anything, showing its flight as it departs from Earth's atmosphere altogether, going beyond mere Earth orbit and out into the solar system beyond. Never do we see footage anywhere of the gentle curvature of the Earth, from close up, gradually becoming more and more pronounced until the entire outer sphere of the world was visible within the frame. We really should have dozens, if not hundreds, of examples of this by now, with all the probes that have supposedly gone out into space. And even if they weren't giving us fully contiguous shots of non-stop video, couldn't they at least use time-lapse photography? Something? Showing the Earth go from curve to gradually turning into a ball? But no. Even though we see lots of footage filmed from outside the rockets as they blast through the thickest portions of Earth's atmosphere, with the most heat and vibrations to contend with, somehow they can film that, but then we never seem to be able to capture that transition from the close-up Earth orbit to being able to see the entire sphere of the Earth all at once. For whatever reason, there's always a break, there's always a pause, and only after some time has passed do we get alleged snapshots of the Earth or from other planets, or even as far as Pluto now. Even the famous Apollo 11 footage that supposedly shows the astronauts looking at the Earth while they were halfway to the moon has been shown to have been almost certainly fake. And even then, they never even attempted to show the Earth going from close-up Earth orbit to slowly pulling away, revealing the entire globe as it hangs in space. Such a thing would be very difficult to fake in a convincing way, even today, let alone back then. Especially if all the source imagery one has to work with when compiling footage of what the Earth looks like from outer space was in reality all a flat, bright, cloud-covered plane with a black expanse over it. It's one thing to take a flat image and bend it slightly with a lens or in Photoshop, or to take two-dimensional images and use a graphics processor to wrap it over a CGI ball. But it would be much more challenging indeed to start with a shot that was closer to flat due to perspective from the alleged low Earth orbit, and then gradually and contiguously wrap it around a ball as you further and further pulled away into space. And that ball was constantly rotating the entire time as well. I'm not sure we've ever even seen such a thing shown in sci-fi movies, let alone in NASA footage. Probably only in cartoons. And so, I now find myself in the position of having to admit that no, I do not believe I've ever seen anything that was a true, genuine footage of outer space. I would have to say that I could not even see I believed in such a thing until the appropriate measure of evidence was provided. So far, all I've seen is clear evidence that there is such a thing as the upper sky.